Alrighty, yo, what is up, knights? Just Rick here, back with some more DFO Crash, this time on my Chaos. Now guys, I'm playing Chaos mostly just to round out the knight characters that I've been showing off so far in the series. And you know, I can't just leave this one on the table. In fact, this character is, I'm still going to say it, one of my main characters. I'm not going to say like, obviously the top 10 characters, but this character has been here for a long time, and I do, you know, I'm just Rick, I main the knights, even this one, and I've been very critical about this character in the past, but I still don't think it's a character that I'm just going to ignore just because she's not very fun to play. But that's the truth of the matter, guys. But here, looking at my gear, I have optimized a little bit. I could be a lot better. I'm missing a couple enchants here. Got a rare avatar set even. I don't even remember how I got that one, but still working on like the talisman situation. I guess I could put this on here, but you know, this character has some really good talismans I should throw out there. She has good talismans. I just haven't bothered to do them yet. But guys, Chaos, man. Let me talk a little bit about Chaos by talking about first my pros and cons with the character. Alright, first for pros is that she has some intense burst potential. Genocide Crush has always been known to be a monster of a burst move, and getting their talisman and something like talisman selection is going to make you insane. You can even set up some other skills on top of it to make it do even more damage. Now next, this class has actually been changed a ton, probably the most in the game, and some of her best changes involve her being able to summon all of her minions at once and not actually losing any of them during Genocide Crush or Sacrificial Bomb. Lastly, she has two extremely abusive moves in the Horde Charge and Fancy Twist that are absolutely abusive and come at an extremely low cooldown. Now on to some cons, guys. We are in the very beginning stages of brain deadness. Now it's definitely not as bad as Paladin, but it's not that far off, to be honest. Getting good with Chaos is a matter of just getting your buffs and rotations situated on minions, and then using the right skill for the right situation. Now this class looks like it has a million skills, but what it really boils down to is a few great ones with incredibly low and abusive cooldowns. And lastly, guys, I think she suffers a little bit from an identity crisis. She's just kind of a bland knight that can do a little bit of everything, and thus she doesn't really stand out in my mind hardly at all. Alrighty guys, hopefully you kind of understand kind of my opinion. You know, we've gone through all of these knight characters. Of course, we're going to be jumping into 2+2. Like I said, we have the legendary gear, and I do think if you optimize it like I have with this character, you are going to be pretty much solid enough to do this below 2 minutes, which is kind of the goal that I mentioned in my Dragon Knight video. I'm going to shoot for around 2 minutes. I think this Chaos character can do that pretty well with a little bit of help. I think I'm going to be getting the lantern as well, but anyway, guys, like I said, the Chaos has been on my account for a long time. It's somebody who's, you know, it's been here basically as long as my EK has been here, which is since the very, very start. And, you know, I've been on the DL about this character. I have talked mad shit about this character. A lot of iterations of this character exist, and that's kind of the thing that I want to mention about this, is that Chaos is a character that has been changed so many times. She has like a little bit of an identity crisis, if you ask me, because it's like once upon a time, you know, everything about her was Genocide Crush and nothing else, and now they changed it. You know, she used to have a sword buff, she used to have all these different kinds of things to do damage, and they keep kind of changing her. I feel like that identity crisis is something you don't want to deal with in a character. If you invest a lot of time in a character, you don't want to keep having to deal with all the changes and updates. And this character, it feels like they don't really know what they want to do with this character. So that's kind of how it's turned out. But guys, this character is mostly, I'm not going to say completely, but it's mostly a burst character with that combo right there, the Genocide Crush, which, you know, you're going to have your first and second awakening, which act as kind of big multi-hit skills. But mostly you're going to be revolving around the Genocide. And using that whenever you can. Again, like I mentioned, the talisman would definitely help in that situation, but if you don't have that like I do, then it doesn't matter, because you're just going to be making just a mess of the screen with all of your huge bursty skills. Now, the Genocide Crush combo can be made a lot more efficient if you preemptively cast your two other skills that kind of round out this character's big bursty moves. Okay, she has Genocide Crush, which I think is one of her biggest burst moves, but then she also has like the Moonlight Carnival. Oh shoot, I forgot to send the guys first. She also has like the Moonlight Carnival and stuff like that, the laser face that she can shoot, that also work like really good burst moves. Like there, you guys can see, cleared that room very a lot more smoothly than I was beforehand. But so those three skills, I'm going to say the Moonlight Carnival, Midnight Carnival, Massive Fire, and the Genocide Crush, those constitute one portion of this character's gameplay. The other portion of this character's gameplay revolves completely around the horde manipulation, which you guys are going to see me. I have various skills that allow me to manipulate the army that I have right here. You guys can see my Scummins don't really kind of go out of their way. They can attack people that are like really close to me, but you don't see them walking all the way over there to hit those guys. They do have to kind of be manipulated. That's why I don't really like calling this character like a Scumminer type character. It doesn't really play much like one. You really just manipulate the guys utilizing your various skills, which have incredibly low cooldown. Okay, one of them is a fancy twist. You see me using it all the time. Incredibly effective grouping skill. You guys can see it's already back up. So I'm going to have it basically every room that I need it. I can get the fancy twist, and I'll have no problem in casting that. And let me get this buff here. You'll always have the fancy twist available. It's such a useful skill. You'll also have this one right here. Which one is this called? The Legion Array. And that also kind of groups your guys together and makes sure that they're right on top of you guys, all your melee guys. And you know, those two skills are just what you're going to be using pretty much all the time here. Here, I'm going to try to get an actual better combo here. Decent combo, but I don't know if the boss did in the Midnight Carnival, but got a lot of damage off right there. Hit him with the two-way, forward charge into the brawl. Man, mega burst damage, it felt like. 145, and I was dicking around showing skills. Like, this character has no problem in legendaries. Another thing that is a benefit to this character is the fact that it is a fixed damage character. So it's somebody that is going to be pretty much strong all throughout. Just like the Dragon Knight, it's going to be somebody who you don't have to invest too much into to be able to start doing a lot of damage. And some of these skills early on, like in particular, I think if you're like just leveling and stuff, like some of your Scummins, you might get away with just leveling those guys and they'll be able to carry you without you having to use hardly any skills or playing the class at all. But, you know, it's just something that, you know, I think the fixed damage is definitely going to help this character out and help you, obviously, gear this character out and do content all throughout. You're not going to hit any walls due to you not reinforcing your weapon to highly or whatever. You're going to be pretty much just fine all throughout. Have some great skills for a lot of different situations, you know. The grouping, best of all, and then, you know, really low cooldown skills, even on that Sky Sword right there. You know, her kit is just perfect for this kind of stuff, guys. I mean, what can I say? Get him the first day, and I'm running out of skills here, so hit him the two-way. This character does feature some holds. You know, we already showed the brawl attack. That is a hold attack, which does a lot of damage. But this character has like resonance right there, which is like a super hold type hold that will hold most enemies. You know, some of these are not very good holds, but in that case, you know, it stops enemies in their tracks. Resonance. It also stops your own minions in their tracks, but it also buffs them up. So it is beneficial to use the resonance, but it does stop pretty much every boss that I've seen in that little circle there, and you can kind of interrupt attacks like that, which is really nice. This character also, something that's really understated about this character is that she has iframe, which is if you use this skill right here, this basically that entire time that she's casting that, she has iframe. Now unfortunately the skill doesn't do very much damage, but you can cast that skill on the ground or in the air and be able to get iframe off of that. So you can abuse all of those things to be able to you know, you get your holds, you get your iframe, you get your burst moves. You got a lot of things that you can abuse. I think this character has a very phenomenal, a well-rounded kit. Let's put it that way. Unlike the Dragon Knight, you know, Dragon Knight doesn't really feature. She has, I think, one good solid hold. This character has at least a couple, you know, really strong ones at that, like this one right here. That boss is not going. You can even move the boss slightly while you're in the little brawl there. You have a lot of good grouping skills. You have a lot of good, like this one right here, and a horde charge as well as a fancy twist. You have a lot of, like I said, well-rounded characters. She reminds me of, like, you know, if you were gonna play like Smash Brothers or something, she's Mario. She's just literally Mario. She has everything that you need to. Maybe that's not a great example, but you get the idea. Okay, she's an all-rounder character, and she can do everything that you need and have no problem because she's a fixed damage character, and that's kind of how this character has been. She's just been solid all throughout. I mean, that's about the best praise I can give to her. One of the biggest things that I said about the cons of this character, and I haven't really got to talk about it. Hopefully you kind of understand the skills just by me showcasing that. You can see, like, look at how many skills this character has, first of all. And they have been changed all throughout this character's life so many times. But there's been so many good convenience changes that I've liked. The one thing that a lot of people are going to mention about Chaos is that, you know, her scum just are not useful at all, aside from just looking pretty. You guys can see I have level 1 on pretty much all of them, aside from the Big Daddy, which does all the big damage during the Genocide Crush. But, you know, aside from that, guys, I mean, look at that. Level 1 on all of these scums are pretty much useless. Again, like I said, the manipulation skills are pretty much the only thing that you're going to get any mileage from that. But, guys, I have nothing else really much else going for this character. So what I'm going to do... some people like to farm the Stormy. Actually, we can farm Stormy, I think. Unfortunately, I don't think this character is strong enough for farming Stormy efficiently. Stormy has a really good efficiency only if you're strong enough to do it. It is a very good place to farm your FP, you know, for money as well as time guide stones and stuff like that. It's really good, but unfortunately, the damage required to do this efficiently is really high. In fact, I'd say it's going to require you some epics. And if you're trying to farm some endgame content in the meantime before you get to that point, because I don't think full legendaries is at that point yet, guys, to be honest with you. I can clear it. I'm guarantee you I can clear it. I just can't clear it in a very efficient manner. It's going to take a lot of big skills to kill these guys, and that's just the mini boss. So you're definitely going to need some epics before you try to tackle this. Am I missing somebody? Oh, shoot, he was hiding! Yeah, you're definitely going to need some epics before you tackle it, but you guys can see the reason why you farm this kind of stuff. Aeolite from the mini bosses, time guide stones, you know, from time guide stones and Aeolite basically is this dungeon's MO. But you guys can see just legendaries are not going to cut it. So I did want to show that off on a character that there is a reason why I don't really farm this very much, is that my main characters are often doing well, basically I don't really play my main characters all that much, but and then my sub characters are not necessarily strong enough to do it. But you guys can see here how the dungeon works. There's a lot of various, I could say random, oh shoot, wasted that there. I would say like randomly generated types of scenarios that happen. You just have to, you know, go through them one by one. I'm already at the final boss, but you do pick up these Aeolites, so definitely something you want to do. Oh god. Okay. Avoid. Okay, interrupted him there. 1A. Yeah, like I said, you can do it, but you only really get any good mileage out of this by running it fast. And 145, honestly, guys, is not fast at all. You want to definitely try to shoot for sub 1 minute times when we're talking Stormy. And you only really can manage that when you start getting, you know, I would say your epic weapon, maybe even partial epic set, before you start really making short times of Stormy route. So personally, I think for a character that is in this situation, I personally like farming the dark side, and I like the Black Shrine on normal difficulty. And the cool thing, I mean, I've shown this off a little bit with my other characters, but the cool thing about this is that you have access to the normal difficulty. You don't necessarily have to do expert difficulty to get the benefit of farming this dungeon. Unlike Stormy, which kind of acts like the expert difficulty of this dungeon, this has a normal difficulty, which is obviously scaled a lot easier. So you can just constantly keep farming this. You still have, you know, the opportunity to get Aeolites, time crystals, which is something you don't have opportunity in when you farm Stormy. And of course, every time you kill the final boss, you have a chance of dropping the epic itself. So that's just several reasons why I like farming this on normal difficulty. So use your legendary characters that way if you're trying to farm some monies. Again, I've already kind of talked about this in my guide video for what to do at 100 cap, but you know, you can do this kind of content. You can do you know, donning crevice. You have so many options at your disposal. So I'm not going to try to explain that every single video what I'm doing, but just want to explain, you know, Black Shrine, perfect on the normal difficulty for farming on your own. So that are in full legendary. So guys, but I've been meaning to tell you, well, okay, so what don't I really like about this character? Why have I not really talked much about this character in the past? This character has never shined on my account. Yes, she's been there since the start, mostly because she's a knight. You know, I have to have all the knights. I have to give them a fair shot. But I gotta be straight with you guys. This character just doesn't have enough going for her in terms of gameplay. When you really boil it down and when you really look at the mess that is on the screen right now, it is a lot of flash but no substance. That's kind of what I feel like with this character, is that she has everything. She has grouping. She has burst. She has sustain. You know, I'd say that the sustain damage comes from her low cooldown skills like the Legion, like, you know, her Sky Sword, like all of these skills. Horde Charge are decent enough damage, and you don't necessarily need to have mega high burst. You just need to group guys and hit people with solid skills, you know? Like, that is a solid skill to be able to deal with small groups of enemies or trash mobs like that. And then when it starts getting serious like this, it's getting pretty serious, time to hit them with the big boys, you know? Time to hit them with Geno. You know, throw out a Sacrificial Bomb. I haven't even thrown any of those out. Sacrificial Bomb, which hits, focuses one of your strongest minions that is available, which in this case it's always going to be Big Daddy. But, you know, she has everything, but then at the same time she's just so boring to play because of it. I really do find myself cycling between only 2 different modes with this character. That is, well, obviously when you summon everything. Bam. Okay, so when you get everything ready to go, like you summon everything and you buff up everything, you cycle between 2 different modes. And this dungeon is a good indication to show you what those modes are. One is the trash mob killing mode. The other one is the boss killing mode. Okay, you guys can see the types of skills determine what mode that you go into. Okay, I'm back into trash mob killing mode, and I'm only going to use the same 3 or 2 skills to accomplish that. Okay, we're back into boss killing mode. Okay, so I wanted to show that with this dungeon because that's exactly how this character plays, and it's really kind of lame because of it. I don't know how, like, I don't notice it as much with other characters, you know, the complete diversity of the skills and their uses. You know, obviously I'm running out of cooldowns here, but there's no real reason to use any of those other skills in any other situation. You know, you always want to use your boss killing moves in the actual boss fight, and then you always want to use your trash mob skills. I guess if you have no other skills, you'll use whatever, but you know, your trash mob killing skills are all designed for that purpose. Everything, it feels like everything is like manufactured with this character. Like, they thought of everything. They thought of everything with this character, but it's so bland because of it, you know. Maybe that's not a sentiment you guys share with when you play your Chaos, but that's the way I feel like with it. It doesn't help that this character's gameplay is very, very stale. One thing that you do have to consider is her, I guess, buffing potential. The skills that can manipulate your horde do give yourself a buff. You guys can see right here, the Sky Sword does give me Demon Soldier attack speed. I think this gives me a defensive buff. Fancy Twift gives me a move speed buff. So yes, you have to manage a whole lot of different buffs, but I'm not saying that's all that difficult. I mean, honestly, you're going to be using these skills all the time anyway, you know, because they are at such a low cooldown. So it's not something you really have to like deliberately think about, you know, all the time. So you just kind of do it one time and then maybe do it. The dungeon's taking a really long time, and you might have to do it a couple times. But yeah, hopefully I was able to express how I kind of feel with this character. Just so milquetoast character with no gimmicks whatsoever, and a repetitive gameplay with using these cycling skills. It's kind of what I feel about this character. Again, you guys will tell me otherwise if you main Chaos or what you feel about the character. But that being said, don't let that dissuade you. You know, if you're the type of guy who just really wants a very straightforward gameplay, and personally, I still think Dragon Knight would be the perfect the perfect foil to this character. Okay, both of them are similar in that they are fixed damage characters, very strong early on. But the benefit that Dragon Knight has is that she's so much more fluid. Honestly, don't think that they're that much. That Dragon Knight is so much harder to play. But she's just so much more satisfying and fluid, and she can do more things. But if you're really looking for like a simplistic character, like just I want to press skills and I just want to kill things, and I want to be a knight that does it, then I think this is a good foil to Paladin in that respect. Because Paladin is somebody who I've criticized for being too brain dead. She's a paladin, is super brain dead, but she is a percentage damage character, so you need to invest in her to do a lot of damage. Chaos, on the other hand, she's a fixed damage character and is brain dead. So, so of the knights, you know, that's kind of like you have this triangle, or I guess diamond of sorts. Like Elven Knight, you have a character who's very complex and hard to play, but she's a percentage damage character. And then the other percentage damage character that's brain dead is, you know, Paladin. Okay, and then you have Dragon Knight, who's a little bit complex, and she's a fixed damage character. And then you have the brain dead fixed damage character. That's the Chaos here. So that's kind of what I am saying. Oh, how I feel about the character right now. Let me try to showcase a little bit of this iframe here. You guys can see right there, just completely iframing through that move, able to hold them through attacks. She really does have, you know, obviously her awakenings can do that too. Both of them have some pretty decent iframe. So this character, above all the other knights, I'm not saying none of the other knights have iframe. Elven Knight in particular has a move that gives iframe, but none nearly as abusive. So if you want to, I guess that's one very small nuance about this character, is that she has some abusive iframe, especially in that, whatever that terrible skill is, the Black Impact. That skill is extremely abusive, some of the most in the game, honestly. Let me show you guys a tip, since my weapon just broke right now. There are a couple ways to repair your weapon in this game, okay? One of them is to just click on this little button here, right? And it says emergency repair cost, 210,000. Now that's obviously a lot of money, and definitely a lot more than you normally would pay at the NPC. But to avoid me leaving the dungeon, what you can do is craft yourself a Delilah APC, which, if you don't know, if you have the Explore or Profession system, if you have the Animator, you can craft Delilah. She's over here. She's only a level 5 recipe, and you can craft her, and what happens is you actually summon an APC that's just the Delilah NPC, and she sells you, of course, the Warlord's Craft Potion, and you can repair your weapon at a fraction of the cost, at the normal cost. Emergency repairs, if you know you're in the middle of a boss fight and you have to fix your weapon. If you have the time and your dungeon allows for it, use the Delilah NPC, and that way you can repair your stuff. You can even sell your, like if you're overweight or something, you can also sell your equipment to the NPC. This is just spawning an NPC where you can manipulate and do whatever you need to do, and it's available for your entire party. So I know a lot of people don't really know about the animating system, you know, but there are some useful APCs that you can summon. In particular, that's probably one of the most useful ones, just because she provides a service that normally is only available outside or after dungeons are completed. So just letting you guys know, I've used that to great success. Saved myself right there, I don't know, 70,000 gold right there for not having to deal with that shit. Pro tip from the pros. I also should mention this character has at least a couple skills that she can use in the air, which is a little bit, you know, I'm thinking about Dragon Knight, about all the combinations she can do. It is a little bit cool because she has one attack that actually puts her into the air. So the final attack is a combo that can launch her into the air. And I believe if you hold the button down here, you can actually go higher into the air. And then you can see she had access to both the Black Impact, which is mainly her iframe move, as well as the Sky Sword can be utilized in the air to either come back down or just, you know, do some flashy combos. So something that, you know, it's very minor. It's like whatever, but at the same time, something you should know about the character. She does have a little bit of combo potential there with the final attack, and then coming back down with the Sky Sword. You can also backstep into those skills if you want, although there's not really much benefit. It's not like the Dragon Knight where, you know, you have various versions. They basically do the same thing, whether you cast them on the ground or not, but it is something to mention. You have backstep available skills to use if you want to do that. But anyway, guys, I think this is going to be my last run for the Chaos here. You know, I am going to be saying a lot here in the coming weeks because you guys know what Third Awakenings are coming tomorrow. Tuesday, we're going to be getting some very great awakenings. And just for those of you guys who see this in the future, we're getting the female fighters, and I main a lot of the female fighters. Let's put it that way. I definitely main at least 3, officially. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching the video. I almost said coming to the stream because I've been streaming quite a bit lately. But yeah, appreciate you guys. Hopefully, you know, I did not believe I can sell you guys on Chaos. I really don't. It's just a hard sell, I think, for me. And I think it's so much easier to sell you on characters like the Dragon Knight, which, you know, are just better options, in my opinion. Just better get more value for what you get. I don't really know, you know. I don't really have any allegiance to this character, but for you Chaos mains out there, hopefully you guys will leave some comments below if I missed anything, and I probably did. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. There was a little bit of Chaos action, and I will catch you nights later.